today I am going to be showing you how I do my sourdough everything but the bagel seasoning bagels. They're a lot of fun to make, but they are very time consuming, but only because you have to wait for the dough to rise and those kinds of things. So this video will be pieced together and we will talk about every step. And if you have any questions, I'll have all kinds of links down in the description. And of course you can comment as well. So the first thing you have to do is make sure that you have a good, healthy starter. And this morning I started with a starter that was in my fridge. So let me show you what that looked like. So I keep a jar of starter in the refrigerator. Usually I have several actually right now because I made too much last time. As you can see, there's not very much in it at this point. These jars have measuring on them, and you can see that's 1 cup measure. So there's about a half a cup in here. And that's okay. This morning there was about a cup, and so I took a half a cup and I put it in this measuring bowl. And then I added to this some bread flour and some water to feed it. And as you can see, we now have about a cup. This is actually, it's almost 2 cups, but this is the 1 cup mark right here. And so that's where we're at. It has been feeding, and you can see the bubbles, and so you know that it is a good healthy starter. So I'm gonna go ahead and feed it again because I don't need a ton of starter for the bagels. Actually, I need, like, it's a cup, 1 1/4 cups or 1 1/2 cups, but I'm actually going to be doing a half recipe, and so I'm only going to need about half of that. But I wanted to make sure that I could show you how to add the flour and the water to continuously feed your starter. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And I've only fed it once. And the woman that I watch and I've learned a lot about starters from, Glenda, I'll post her information in the description below. She gives the advice of feeding your starter, 2 to 3 times to make sure it's good and healthy and ready to bake with. I don't always do that, but I'm trying, so I'm still learning. Anyway, here we go. So we're gonna start with some bread flour, and I just keep mine in this container. This is actually, I believe, King Arthur brand. I bought it off of Glenda's website, and she has like a starter kit you can use when you're starting to do sourdough. So I actually bought the starter kit off of her website, but I'm getting low on the bread flour, so I'll be buying some more, probably just off of Amazon here soon. Now, because this is almost 2 cups, it's about 1.5 cups, I am going to feed it about 1.5 cups of flour. Now, I want to actually show you, I forgot to do that. If you look, you can see that it's very stringy, which is apparently what it's supposed to do. Again, I'm still learning, but it looks really good right now. So let's see. Yeah, that probably brought it down to about 1 cup. So yeah, I'm just gonna do 1 cup of flour. 1 cup of flour. So 1 cup, that's a half cup actually. So we'll do another one of those. So that's 1 cup of flour. And now I'm going to add just under 1 cup of water. I was about to use my sink. I try not to do that. I'm going to use some spring water. Somewhere, I think Glenda said you should not use chlorinated water, which means pretty much for the, don't use tap water. Anyway, so let's see here. I'm going to do just under 1 cup. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and stir all that together. And we will see. Yep, it's mixing really well. And part of the reason that you can use bread flour in a sourdough recipe and it still be THM friendly, if I understand everything correctly, is that the fermentation process, which is what's happening whenever the live yeast is eating away this flour, is it reduces the carbs. You're basically eating that sugar or the carbs that turns into sugar. I think that's right. I'm not 100% sure. I don't understand the science. I trust the sisters. I trust Glenda, so it's an E. All right. Okay, so we are all mixed together. And now I'm gonna let that sit for a few hours. And again, I'll be watching for those bubbles to know that it's doing its thing. And hopefully it will. And that means it's gonna rise up a little bit more. And then we will come back and take the next step. All right? So we start with some water. And then we're gonna add our starter. Now I did not measure this out yet because I wanted you to see what the starter looks like before I start measuring it out. As you can see, it got a lot bigger. We are up to, it looks like 5 cups now. And as I start stirring it to measure it out, it's gonna fall a little bit, and that's fine. But you can see how stringy it is, and you can see all the bubbles in it. This is a good active starter, and I do not need much for this small amount of bagels. So let me go ahead and measure it out. I'm doing 3/4 of a cup for this particular size batch. And then I will take the rest of the starter and I will probably put it in the fridge. If I had more time in the day today, I'd probably make something else, but I don't particularly want to do that today. So I will put that aside for now, and I will add it to one of my jars and put it in the refrigerator. Okay, so now I'm gonna add this starter to our water. Okay. And now I'm going to add some Vital Wheat gluten. You can find this on Amazon. Okay, and now I'm gonna add some honey. And I do try to use local honey because it's supposed to be much better for you. Okay, and I'm gonna add part of, but not all of, this flour. Now, this is whole wheat flour. I am actually out of the white whole wheat flour, which is what the recipe calls for, but I wanted to go ahead and use this up, so this is what I'm using. Normally, I would be using white whole wheat flour. So I'm not putting it all in there, I'm just putting part of it in there. And now I'm gonna take it over to my mixer. I did upgrade recently to this mixer, and I love it. I'm gonna add some more flour. And just kind of use your judgment. The recipe says that you should add in 1/4 cup increments until the dough pulls away from the sides of the mixer bowl. All right, it's about done. Let me make sure. Yep, it's good. Now the next step in the directions say to give it 20 minutes to rest, just sitting here in the bowl. So I am going to turn off the video for 20 minutes and I'll be back. All right, it's been 20 minutes. So we are now going to knead the dough. So I'm gonna add my kneading hook. And I'm going to add some salt. And we're going to knead for, I think it said 8 minutes. So we're gonna knead for about 8 minutes. All right, we are done kneading. So we're gonna go ahead now and get the dough off of the dough hook. And there it is, just a little tiny ball of dough. And we're gonna add it to this greased bowl. And it's gonna be in here for about 5 hours. Oops. We're gonna cover it and let it sit for 5 hours to rise some more, and then we come back and we start shaping our bagels. See you shortly. All right, we are back and the dough has finished rising. Let's take a look at that. It's looking pretty good. All right. And we are going to now take our dough and make it into some 3-ounce balls to shape our bagels. We're making 6 bagels. Okay. Okay, so now we have our 3 ounces all measured out. So we are going to shape our bagels. Now, you don't have to have these. These are kind of expensive for what they are, but I can't help myself. I like to be very consistent in size and everything with these, so I went ahead and bought them. But I only have the 6, so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to cut the recipe down. This is the first time I have tried to cut it down for just 6 bagels. So we're gonna see how it does. All right, bagel number 1. And right now I'm just trying to get all where it's all seamed together, just kind of roll it together. I'm just digging a hole out of the middle. Now, there are other ways you can shape bagels, and actually when I first started doing this, I went on YouTube and I did a search through videos for how to shape bagels, and I tried several of the different methods and did not love any of them, which is what led me to end up buying the molds. I thought about buying donut molds, but most of the donut molds you buy are really for a liquidy donut where you would just pipe in, and obviously you can't pipe this dough in, there's just no way. So it's just easier to shape it, and I didn't have much experience baking before I started doing all these breads, so it may be some of you might have better luck than I did because you've had baking practice in your past and I have not. So for me, that made the molds very, very valuable. Okay, so after we finish shaping all of these bagels, then we are going to let it rise for another 2 to 3 hours. And I have been working on this all day, so it's getting pretty late. If I had gotten started a little bit earlier, it wouldn't be so bad, but I'm gonna be up a little later tonight than I really wanted to be, but that's okay. No worries. I'll have fresh bagels for the morning. All right, and then the last one. Okay, so this is the last bagel. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on there. Okay, here we go. And we have all 6 of our bagels done, and they are ready for their final rise. They're probably not gonna be perfect, and that's okay. Now, in the instructions for the recipe, it says to cover these with greased plastic wrap, and the greased plastic wrap is so the plastic wrap doesn't stick to the bagels. But because of these molds, I'm not gonna need to grease it, but I am gonna go ahead and cover it. I'm sure that has to do with keeping some of the moisture inside as they rise on this final time. Okay, so here we are. And now we're gonna wait another 2 to 3 hours and let them rise, and then we will complete our bagels. They don't take long at all to cook once they are all done rising. So, all right, so the bagels are done rising, and as you can see, they have risen quite a bit. So that's good. Hopefully they will be nice fat bagels. I don't know, we'll see. I'll go ahead and remove our plastic wrap. Now the water is set to boil, and I'm adding some salt and baking soda to the water. And we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to boil our bagels for about 30 seconds each. Okay, so the water's boiling a little bit. I'm going to turn it down just a tad. And now we're going to boil our bagels for about 30 seconds each. Again. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do 30 more seconds on the other side. So so I'm gonna turn that off. Oh, I forgot to preheat my oven, so let me go ahead and get that turned on. The oven has to preheat to 400. It's gonna take me a few more minutes to finish the rest of this anyway, so it should be preheated by the time we are ready. So I'm gonna take our bagels over here. Okay, so I've got my bagels over here, and I am ready to go ahead and use the egg wash on them. Now I see where the dough is torn apart a little bit, and that's because I did not do a very good job of making my little 3.1, 3.2 ounce balls and getting the dough to stick together, so it'll be all right. They'll still taste good. Okay, and I buy this little off-brand of everything but the bagel seasoning, so we're gonna use this for our bagels, and I do a good generous sprinkle. All right, they are done and ready for the oven. Now, once they are in the oven, they need to cook for about, it says 15 to 18 minutes or until browned. Our bagels are all done. They look amazing. I'm looking forward to getting them off the molds to see how they hold up. They look pretty good. I mean, it's a little misshapen, you know, but like I said, I'm still learning. But as hot as it is, oh my gosh, those look wonderful. They look amazing. We'll check them out in the morning and we'll have a little breakfast bagel. Yum. I put some light Laughing Cow cheese on my bagel. Yeah, looks yummy, doesn't it? Let's try it. Perfect. I toasted it before I put the Laughing Cow cheese on it. That was delicious. There's a whole wheat bagel, but it's a sourdough whole wheat bagel, and it was yummy. I've had them before, so I knew it would taste really good, but it really just hit the spot this morning. Y'all have a great day. I hope you enjoy making your own sourdough bagels. Please comment below if you make them and you have success, and share a picture with me. I'd love to see them. If you have any questions, please also comment below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and like my page. I also have a series of videos on eating out on THM and just different choices you could make. A lot of them are local to my area, but I am also working on chains, so please be sure to check it out. Have a great day.